Good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Michelle Smith, and I am the very proud board member of Brooklyn for Peace. Let me thank you. Yes. I'm also going to be your MC, and we're making sure we flow, get you in, get you out, but also for you to meet and greet great people that are here. I love how this room is filled with everyone. We here at Brooklyn for Peace, I'm just going to read a little bit. We're celebrating not only our gala, we have this PathMaker gala that started, I believe, in 2013, but what's even more special this year is that it's the 40th anniversary. Come on, come on. I know I have some old-time past and present protesters. You could be a little bit louder. It's the 40th anniversary. There you go, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So, what we're going to do this evening is that we're not doing a whole lot of speeches. We're just going to honor the founders for this great organization. Right? And just before I start, I have to do some housekeeping notes. And the housekeeping notes is, if you can basically turn your cell phone on silent or vibrate, I appreciate that. And what that does is helpful for not only the speakers, but myself, who might be a little nervous being up here in front of all your smiling faces, so it'll make everyone comfortable and we won't hear the phone ringing. Right now, we'd like to just do a moment of silence. Just bring this down a little bit. And the moment of silence is to acknowledge that here in Brooklyn, we are on the seized and occupied territory of the Lampepe people who took care of this island for generations before they were removed by the genocidal violence. Let us pay our respects for those who came before us, their elders, past and present, and consider the legacies of displacement, migration, and settlement that enables us to be here today. Just a moment of silence. And let us also take a moment of silence to honor the many, way too many lives lost in the past year in Sudan, Gaza, the West Bank, Israel, and more recently in Lebanon, as well as the past 4 years to COVID-19, police violence, poverty, racism, the climate crisis, and the war in Ukraine. Just a moment of silence. Thank you. I would like to now, on behalf of Brooklyn for Peace, bring forward Father Dominic Hanna, H-A-N-N-A, Hanna. And Father Dominic, he is allowing us to use this great space. So Father, would you like to come up?
Thank you, Michelle, and congratulations for Brooklyn for Peace. Thank you for being here. So I'm Father Dominic, and with me is Father Chuck. We are here at the cathedral in Brooklyn, and we've been here for a long time. We've been in Brooklyn since 1903 as Our Lady of Lebanon. And then in 1946, we bought this church, and it was used by the Church of the Pilgrims. Those of you from Brooklyn would know the Congregationalist church. So it's been a long time for us to be here, and it's good that we're here, but our parishioners come from everywhere. So we have people travel to come to worship, to come to pray. Here at the church, it's a kind of mixed, it's a Catholic church for sure, but we have an Eastern tone to it. So we're in full communion with Rome, full communion with the Holy See, the Latin church, but we do things slightly different because we come from the East. and most of the people who come from Lebanon. This is where the Maronite Church grew. Actually, it started kind of with the founder in Syria, on the border of Syria and Lebanon, and then because of war, fortunately, and because of persecution, the followers of that saint called Saint Maron fled into the mountains of Lebanon, and in the mountains of Lebanon they were able to find a safe haven. Nature provided for them a place to be safe, and they transformed the mountains into places where they could grow crops and grow plants, and they transformed the mountains a little bit into a place where they could really nurture themselves, body and soul. So we bow our heads today before the Lord, thanking Him for the graces that He brings into our lives. We pray for peace, and we know very well that the peace comes from inside. Yeah, we could pray for presidents and governors and head of states to try to put peace, but deep down the peace comes from within. We have to start that peace from the people around us, from families, friends, and with the hope that that peace would radiate throughout the world. So once again, thank you for being here. May the Lord Jesus Christ bless the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit forever and ever. Amen.
Please give him a round of applause. Thank you so much. Now I'm going to give a little bit of just a little background. I'm sure most of you already know, but we have some guests here today. As I mentioned earlier this year, 2024 marks, again, the 40th anniversary for Brooklyn for Peace. Brooklyn for Peace core mission is the prevention of war and the social, racial, environmental, and economic injustice which lead to war. We are primarily an educational organization. However, we see active response to injustice as a vital component of our activities, which we will contribute to building a strong peace and justice movement so needed at this present time. To give you a little flavor of our activities, Matt Weinstein, who is the convener of our Peace and Economic Justice Committee, has prepared a great slideshow with music. So please, Matt, can you cue us up?
Been a happy day, thinking about the things to come, and I believe it could be something good has begun. Oh, I've been smiling, thinking about the world at once, and I believe it could be someday it's going to come. 'Cause I'm on the edge on there are peace rain, oh peace. Take this country, don't take me home again. I've been smiling, thinking about the good things to come, and I believe it could be something good has begun. These strings sounding loud, peace bank. Come on, peace bank. Peace string home. They go look everyone on the peace bank. Come on, please. Get your bags together. Don't bring your friends too, because it's getting nearer. It's to believe it. Come and join the living. There's nice to all of you, and it's getting nearer. So with all they do, oh, these strings sounding loud, peace bank.
Outside Yvette Clark's office, before the Iran deal.
sport, and our pistols are hungry and our tempers are short. So bring your daughters around to the fort, 'cause we're the cops of the world, boys. We're the cops of the world. We pick and choose as we please, boys. Pick and choose as we please. You best get down on your knees, boys. Best get down on your knees. We're hairy and horny and ready to strike, and we don't care if you're yellow or black. Just take off your clothes and lay down on your back. 'Cause we're the cops of the world, boys. We're the cops of the world.
If you love this land of the free,
Bring 'em home, bring 'em home,
bring all troops back from overseas.
bring 'em home, bring 'em home.
It will make the generals sad, I know. Bring 'em home, bring 'em home. They want to tangle with the flow.
Bring 'em home, bring 'em home. To test their weaponry, bring 'em home, bring 'em home. Heathens their big fallacy, bring 'em home, bring 'em home. A focus from the ignorance, bring 'em home, bring 'em home. Can't beat that with bombs and guns. Bring 'em home, bring 'em home.
I may be right, I may be wrong. Bring 'em home, bring 'em home. But I got a right to sing this song. Bring 'em home, bring 'em home. Isn't that the wonderful thing about America? You got a right to be wrong. Where else in the world can you do it like we can do it here? Back in 1965, when I first wrote this song, if you love your own sand, support our boys in Vietnam, bring them home. If you all sing that chorus with me, we can raise the ceilings higher. Hooray for the United States of America, the writers speak your mind.
There's one thing I must confess, bring 'em home, bring 'em home. I'm not really a pacifist.
Bring 'em home, bring 'em home.
If an army invaded this land of mine, bring 'em home,
Bring 'em home.
you'd find me out on the firing line.
These people come from violence. No word is spoken of why the Indian gods, or that Chicanos discovered by one white man. One of the many, and we had plenty. I don't want more of the same. No more. Oh, why?
Did you enjoy that? Let's thank Matt, my favorite person, one of them here at Brooklyn for Peace. I wanted to just mention before we move on, the fundraising committee, the board, the Brooklyn for Peace staff, they worked really hard on putting this together, and we want to make sure that our guests not only eat, drink, and be merry, but we want you to learn something that you may not have known about Brooklyn for Peace. We want you to network, meet at least 1 or 2 people this evening, donate, and of course, join this great organization. To give them a great big Brooklyn cheer and congratulations. Please come up to the front. It is Matt and Stacy Weinstein. I just met them since I joined, but they are the best. I love them. And they live on my old block in Brooklyn, Underhill. I used to live in Prospect Heights. Now I live in Bed-Stuy, do or die. Well, let's just say that. Gotta be politically correct nowadays. But again, they've been married 53 years. She was a child bride, yes. So can we just say, I don't know, is there an anniversary song? Is there a protest anniversary song? I don't know. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your help.
Yes, on behalf of Brooklyn for Peace and Charlotte and Rusti and everyone, and thank you, because you could have been somewhere else. Instead you were here.
On our anniversary, we came to Brooklyn for Peace.
Exactly, they came here, right? Well, let's give them a round of applause. 53 years. Brooklyn. I also want to acknowledge, I know everyone's probably from Brooklyn, but is anyone just not from Brooklyn area? You can just, okay. Let's just do a quick shout out. Where are you from? Manhattan. Okay, all right. Staten Island. Vermont, right? Jersey in the house. In the back. Where? England. All right. And you came to Brooklyn. Who else? Anybody in the back? Any other guests? Westchester, all right. And then you'll leave right here? Okay. Palestine, okay. Okay, just like I mentioned, I hope you had a little bit of fellowship. This is a fellowship hall, so I hope you got to meet people at your table, new people, all that good stuff, because that's what we wanted. But now we're going to start our program. And let me just make sure I get here. Great, I have the great honor of introducing the Brooklyn for Peace co-founder. And that is also the chair, and it's Dr. Charlotte Phillips. Many of you know Charlotte is a pediatrician who worked in the New York public hospital system for over 20 years. And she led Brooklyn for Peace from its modest beginnings as a group of parents sitting on a park bench with their children who also attended the same daycare center. And that was exactly, how many years ago? 40. There you go. You're listening, you're following me. I'm glad. Charlotte will be followed by Professor Carolyh Rusti Eisenberg. She is the other co-founder of Brooklyn for Peace and currently the co-vice chair. Rusti, as we fondly call her, is a professor of American Foreign Policy at Hofstra University in Hempstead, Long Island, and a longtime activist. We will then hear briefly from Eman Rashid, who would like a few minutes to invite people to participate in the Ceasefire Signs campaign. And then last, we're going to have a new member and new to the board who will speak to our vision for the future, and that's Greg Kalvin. Following Greg, we are very grateful, very appreciative to have a musical performance by Christine Lewis, who is a pioneering organizer of Domestic Workers United and the recipient of the 2024 Just Brooklyn Award. And after we have everyone speak in the entertainment, we're doing something a little different. We're doing a little dessert reception later on. And I saw the dessert in the back, and it looks really, really good. So, please save some room for that. So please come up to the podium, Dr. Charlotte Phillips.
thanks, Michelle, for the introduction. And thanks, Father. Louder. How's this? Okay. Thanks, Michelle, for the introduction, and thanks, Father Dominique, for welcoming us tonight and for opening this beautiful space. Our hearts go out to all the people in Lebanon, the West Bank, and Gaza, and those in the community here who are impacted by the Israeli attacks on Lebanon, as well as the ongoing genocide in the West Bank and Gaza. We also hope for an end to the wars in Ukraine and Sudan. I am tremendously excited to speak on behalf of Brooklyn for Peace and to welcome you to our 40th anniversary celebration. It's truly awesome to think back to the conversation Rusti and I had when we met on the corner of Atlantic and Court on October 25th, 1984, after we had dropped off our children at the Open House Early Childhood Center. Both Rusti and I have been involved in the civil rights movement and the anti-Vietnam War movement, but have become relatively inactive. But had become relatively inactive. That's different. Yeah. As we became focused on our own professional work and our families with young children. When I met Rusti on that street corner, we had just learned about the U.S. invasion of Grenada. We knew it was a bad development, and we thought we should do something in response, but without being members of a locally active peace group, we didn't really have an idea of how to respond. Rusti proposed that we call a meeting of other parents to get together to talk about it, and we have been getting together to talk about it ever since. Shortly thereafter, in January 1985, the Navy announced a proposal to build a home port on Staten Island, which would house 7 ships carrying nuclear-capable cruise missiles. When news of this proposal leaked out, a citywide movement sprang up to oppose it, and we began showing up with our children in strollers at the environmental impact hearings and at the offices of our local elected officials. A strong motivating force was our desire as parents to protect our children and for our children to see that we were taking action. This movement eventually succeeded in getting the Navy to withdraw the proposal and move elsewhere, although unfortunately it still has ships carrying nuclear-capable cruise missiles, which are an instrument of U.S. foreign policy. But it gave us our initial database on a Rolodex file, a mailing list, and a telephone tree. And it gave us what has been our enduring motto: the only recognizable feature of hope is action. Having seen other grassroots organizations come and go, we decided to incorporate as a nonprofit organization in 1987, and were successful in achieving status as a 501c3 educational organization. We continue to grow our network with a mix of educational events and protest activities. We celebrated what we thought then, optimistically, was the end of the Cold War and the lessening of the danger of nuclear war with arms control agreements. We worked for the peace dividend to have real impact locally, and we protested the U.S. role in suppressing popular movements in Latin America. Fast forward to September 11th, 2001. When September 11th happened, we had a bank account, bylaws, and a telephone tree, and people in Brooklyn looked to us for leadership for a non-military response to the tragedy of September 11th. We grew tremendously, became computer literate, launched a website, and began to hire people to work with us as the work involved in coordinating our activities was more than we could handle with volunteers alone. And that brings us to where we are today. Along the way, we changed our name from Brooklyn Parents for Peace to Brooklyn for Peace. Although we had always emphasized that we are united by our concern for future generations, and you didn't need to be literally a parent to join, changing our name was important symbolically in indicating our concrete desire to be inclusive and welcoming to everybody who wanted to participate. And we still stay on top of spell check and stress that it's a capital F in Brooklyn for Peace, emphasizing what we are for. A major theme of our work over the years has been militarism and how it impacts all levels of our society, particularly in resources which are tragically wasted while people's basic needs go unmet. Another major theme has been that we work on a range of issues, local and global, and collaborate with other organizations, as you try to understand and counteract the racial, environmental, economic, and social injustices which lead to war. There are too many people to thank, many of whom are here tonight, who have made this journey and our longevity possible, so I won't even begin. I do want to recognize the members of our current board and also of our advisory board who are here tonight, and please stand. I believe you all know who you are, so please stand here. Our board members as well as our advisory board members, which we greatly appreciate. Without your willingness to step forward and be counted, we wouldn't be able to have the organizational stability that what has enabled us to carry on today. It's so important. I also want to thank our administrative assistant, Diana Salve, without whom this event would not have been possible. Diana joined us just in July, and she's really stepped up to the plate. And I want to thank everybody who has contributed and continues to contribute to so much of their time, energy, and financial resources to make our voice for peace and justice in Brooklyn and beyond as loud as possible. I'm now happy to introduce Carolyh and Rusti Eisenberg. Rusti is our co-founder and currently our co-vice chair, as well as our legislative coordinator. Rusti, take it away.
Properly. But if we continue, we might get better. There are too many people to thank. I especially want to acknowledge Michelle, who's just done a great job in pulling this evening together. Diane, the many friends and activists in this room who have made our work possible. And then I had the sentence about Charlotte and her heroic efforts for the group. But it occurred to me that she should be thanked for working with her heroic efforts and working with me for the last 40 years. And those of you who know us now know how unlikely that situation would be. But Charlotte has really, just gone far beyond anything that a person could do to make this whole evening possible. Am I doing right now? Okay. Brooklyn for Peace was founded in 1984, you've now been told that 3 times, when U.S. military and foreign policy was morally abhorrent and terrifying. And this was the era of Ronald Reagan, and now we sometimes even forget how that was, when the United States was intervening all across Central America. And relations with the Soviet Union were more dangerous than ever. Reagan had come in promising a huge nuclear buildup, which could easily have resulted in an accidental World War III. And then, right here in New York, the Navy had the absolutely ridiculous idea of having a home port here that would carry nuclear-capable missiles. And actually, they had managed to persuade the Port of Estimate that so safe was this to carry these nuclear missiles, we didn't even need an environmental impact statement, it could just go through. So these were some of the things that we were, looking at back then. As Charlotte indicated, our little group, Brooklyn for Peace, with Brooklyn for Parents for Peace, was the result of conversations by young parents who had been politically active in their younger years, but who are now so busy and overstretched that public issues were eclipsed. And this isn't in my notes, but I just want to give a realistic feel for this. Really what happened when Charlotte and I were having this conversation is that morning there was a meeting of parents in my kid's 40-year-old nursery school. And the teachers had made a rule that parents had to leave at 9 o'clock. And the parents were furious. And so we had this huge confrontation about why did they have to leave at 9 o'clock? They didn't really want to leave at 9 o'clock. They were working with Legos and so forth. I was telling Mr. Charlotte. And then he said, oh, by the way, Grenada was invaded this afternoon. That was, I don't think anyone's noticed. And that was literally with a conversation. And so we actually decided to bring people together, not necessarily to have a plan, but just to talk about it, like what had happened with our lives, and how did the pieces that we valued, how did they really fit together? So that's really how we started. Eventually, so a lot of it was just talking and sharing the personal experience. Eventually, we became active on a variety of peace-related issues. But one strength of the group back then was that we took initiatives that really fit with people's schedules and their location in life. So we did things in the school, and we had art contests and essay contests, and just a whole set of activities that happened to fit at that particular moment in the life cycle. An important point is that many of our efforts were successful, but in a way that is easily overlooked. How did this little group in Brooklyn affect U.S. nuclear policy? I think a way to understand that is that our work was it wasn't just us. Our work was part of a national and international effort to halt the nuclear arms race, as well as outside circumstances, including changes in Russia that we didn't really know about. So there was a larger context in which we were operating. And I just don't want to proceed without acknowledging for a moment the presence of my friend and heroine, Leslie Kagan, who is here and who had responsibility for what I think is probably the largest anti-nuclear event that had ever occurred in our country before or after. And then we were happy to participate in that. So that our work, as modest as it seemed at the time, was part of a broad movement that made the world a safer place. There were also tangible local accomplishments over these years. We played a critical role in consolidating our Brooklyn delegation in opposition to the Bush war against terrorism. And that, it's hard to remember now because they're also awful, but the Brooklyn delegation became a powerful voice for peace in the Congress, and I think we played an important part in that. On the Iran treaty, our pickets, petitions, and meetings turned our local representatives around and actually helped advance the work at the national level. Because once the Brooklyn people were willing to defend the Iran treaty, and that also included Kirsten Gillibrand, which was a state effort, once that had happened, it made it possible for many other members of Congress who were holding back to take a stand. I'm recalling that history because it's very easy right now to feel defeatist, especially at present when every single day Palestinians are being killed with American weapons. And when the new old guy who's coming back into the White House seems even more immoral than the present occupant. Not to mention an increasingly dangerous situation in Ukraine, with US missiles being fired into Russian territory and nuclear threats increasing. We know from our 40-year history that working with others in coalitions, that our activities can make a difference. And I think it's for that reason that everyone's here, that people came out with terrible weather as usual, bought tickets and are sitting in this room, because we still believe that activism can make a difference. Even though the starvation and murder of innocents in Gaza that is happening, and even as we sit here, I think hangs heavily over everybody sitting in this room. So Brooklyn for Peace is continuing to grow, and there's much work to be done. And one way I think about this is on the most days where I'm thinking defeated, nothing good's happening, everything's getting worse. But then I think, well, okay, And what is our little group going to do about it? So, I'm sure all of you have entertained such questions. So then I think, okay, well, what if I lived in Nebraska? Like, how would I feel then? Like, how effective would I expect to be? But here in Brooklyn, we are in the heart of things. We have as our very special neighbors, the minority leaders of now the House and the Senate. They're just so close to us. And Washington is not that far away. So there's much work to be done. We're well located to do it. And I want to thank everybody for being here. This hour is very dark, but let's keep thinking, demonstrating, and strategizing together, and doing the best we can to hold these murderous and self-destructive policies to bring them to the end. Thank you to everybody here.
Give another round of applause to the founders.
It's also my honor to introduce Eman Rashid, who I've just met this evening, but who's doing tremendous work putting a ceasefire banners and posters all across Brooklyn. And her effort has been really inspirational to people, and I'm delighted that she's here. So, Eman, can you come to the microphone? I'm going to put this one up here. Ooh, sorry about that. Could we get a Free Palestine one too? Thanks. Yeah, you're taller than me. Can you put this one up there? Testing. Ooh, you can hear me, right? Can you hear me now? Thank you so much. I'll put this one up here. Can you put that one up there, Matt? Sorry. Okay. Is it because it's so close? I can move it over here. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Do you know what it's like to be a little girl stuck in a West Bank life? Do you know what it's like to be a little boy stuck in Gaza tonight? I think all of you have seen the videos of what's happening in Gaza and the West Bank. My family has lived in the West Bank in the same village for 700 years, and they're decimating us. What the? What is it? Is it this one? Is it this? Okay. Better? Sorry about that, guys. I didn't mean to also say what the hell. I meant what the heck. Anyway, so my family's been in the West Bank for 700 years. We've been in the same village for a long time. Our trees have been getting burned down by the settlers for the past 40 years. At this point, the settlers are coming closer and closer to my sister's house, which is at the edge of the village. The people in my village are in danger, but the most dangerous place on earth right now is Gaza. And for all of you who've done so much work and have worked for peace and justice for so long, I want to say thank you. But I want to introduce this sign campaign that we've been doing all over Brooklyn. We started it, I think, in March, and what we do is we put these signs up because when you go to work or when you're asleep, people don't know how you feel. But if you hang this sign up out your window, they know how you feel 24 hours a day. When politicians, their family members, anyone passes by, your neighbors, your coworkers, they will see the signs. It is so crucial right now to put these signs up because they're still not listening to us. They're still not listening to us. And everyone on your table, there should be a sheet that says, oh dear. Okay. This sheet is on everyone's table. If you could please take a picture of it. Please take a picture of it and take it home. There is, Nat, can you stand up?
Matt made this, Matt Weinstein. So this is what Matt did. I asked Matt, I said, can you get 3 other people on your block to put these signs up? And he said yes. And by the time he was done, 9 out of 12 homes on his block had signs up and still have signs. And these are not just any signs. These are outdoor waterproof signs. And the reason we made them is because I've seen thousands of beautiful signs indoors. You have to squint to see them. If someone has to stop and spend a long time trying to figure out what's in your window, it might make you feel good, but it does not have the effect of announcing, not in a beautiful little whisper, but in a scream. It's a scream. It's a bright yellow color because it's not meant to be a gentle statement. It's meant to say, stop it now. Step 1 is the ceasefire, and the ultimate goal is a free Palestine. So I would ask you, if you have this on your table, to please take a picture of it. It has an email address, which Matt created. And we ask you not to put up a sign. That's not what we're asking you to do. We're asking you to please go first, talk to your neighbors. Get at least 2 or 3 other people on your block to put up the signs so that you don't speak alone as an individual. It's not about my statement and how I feel. This is really telling the community that we speak as a community. In Bed-Stuy, there's one block that has 10 signs. On Quincy Street, there's one block on Halsey that has 11 signs, because the people on that block walked around and talked to their neighbors, and they were so surprised to find out how many people on their block felt this way, and were just looking for someone to start talking about it, because we've been demonized, right? The pro-Palestinian movement has been demonized. We've been smeared. So the one way to overcome this is to please talk to your neighbors and just ask them, will you put up a sign? We have, on 11th Street, we have 8 signs on one block. We have 16th Street covered. But we have to do it block by block. We don't have a website, and we purposely don't have a website because we don't want anyone to attack and smear, but we have an email address. So please, we're not asking for money. We're not asking for anything else. Just please talk to your neighbors and get someone else to hang up the sign so that you are not the only one on your block. One thing I do want to say is, if you approach a neighbor and you say, hi, I'm putting up this sign, would you like to put it up too? Most people are nervous, they're afraid of putting it up, they don't want to become targets. So what you want to do is go and say, we are putting up signs, would you like to join us? It is a huge difference between someone being afraid and someone feeling, okay, so it's a group effort, it's a community effort, I want to do it. And this is a way to tell, we put these up near Hakeem Jeffrey's home, and his wife happened to pass by and notice them. We ended up talking to her a little bit. And we also have them not far from Chuck Schumer's home. But we need them everywhere. So please contact this email address and just send us the information, and we'll deliver the signs. If you are not comfortable talking to your neighbors, email us anyway. Email us anyway. And what we do is we go out, Palestinians and Jewish friends together. We knock on doors, and we ask people on your block to put them up. We'll do the work for you if you can't or won't do it for various reasons. And it can be complicated on different blocks. There's a block where we know that there are several Israeli flags, and it's really hard because people know that they might get a neighbor upset, and that's difficult. But if you contact us, we'll come and help you. We'll help you put the signs up on your block. Anyway, that's all. Thank you. It's not all. They're outdoor signs, and we also deliver the twine and the zip ties so you can put them outside. They can be zip tied to metal bars. They can be, for people who say, I live in an apartment, can't hang it up. Most of them actually hang from apartment windows. Most of them hang out of windows. So please, guys, please talk to neighbors. Please take a picture of that. And we'll also put some of these on the front table so you can grab them. Matt's trying to hurt me. Okay. Hi, Sidi. He's awesome. We're going to put these on the front table. Feel free to grab one on your way out. Okay, thank you.
We're now going to have Greg, you come on up.
Thank you, Eman and Rusti and Charlotte and Michelle for emceeing. And thank you all for being here. My name is Greg Kalvin. I joined Brooklyn for Peace as a volunteer in 2022, and I joined the board about a year ago. Thank you. I'm somewhat new to New York City. I moved here in 2021. I moved in with my partner. I lived in the suburbs previously after college with my parents for a number of years. I started graduate school around that time for social work. I moved into the city because I was wanting to move to New York. I was interested, once upon moving to New York, to get involved in some way. However, life went on. I didn't really join any civil society groups as I was in mind to. I hoped I would. And then in 2022, when Russia invaded Ukraine, I felt quite differently. I had been doing a number of things at that time. I was building a life for myself, a career, friendships, relationships, and I was feeling, I was making it in New York. I felt quite lucky in a number of ways. I was feeling quite anchored. But although the war didn't impact me personally in Ukraine, I kind of had this very self-centered view that at my age, I was 29 at the time, I hadn't lived long enough to really face the possibility of a global war that, unlikely or not, if it were to occur, it would really cut me off from a whole range of possibilities, from developing friendships, from continuing to develop relationships, from really connecting with anyone or anything, if the war went nuclear. It's a real possibility that I had a 25-page paper to write for a final course, and it's a good way to feel like the world's ending when you have that, so it may have been a timely distraction. But I think my fears weren't allayed when I noticed in mainstream media the solutions offered were just as concerning. Much written opinion did not, to me, seem to deal with the most realistic ways of ending the war, at least within a short time period. They also didn't seem to provide the full context that precipitated the conflict, the war. To me, it seemed rather quickly. But my daily life had to go on. I wanted to be around others, however, that had similar concerns and even moreover could articulate different responses from those of military or strategic support. So in the summer of 2022, I found Brooklyn for Peace through an online posting. It was promoting a tabling event outside the Brooklyn Library, which still is, north of Prospect Park. The volunteers, when I showed up on a sunny Saturday, spoke with passersby, handed out leaflets, spoke to Americans about how they could contribute in some way to ending the war peacefully. I should mention, I met a number of citizen organizers there, many of who had a very differing view on the context of the war and how to end it. Many of those people are in this room, and I've learned a great deal from them all. Some of those people took me out for lunch when I had questions about the landscape of organizing in New York, which again was very new to me. Some spoke on the phone to me weekly, discussing messaging and outreach strategies that I helped with within some of Brooklyn for Peace's weekly or bi-weekly subcommittee meetings. Others invited me into their homes. I was asked to help with a number of things: webinars, taking minutes at online meetings. I was taught to use our online software to help with our weekly newsletter formatting. And I received all this training from many, many volunteers and paid staff. To jump to 2023, if my existential fear was kind of rocked by Russia's invasion of Ukraine, my moral integrity took a far bigger hit when Israel's war in Gaza began. As Israel, with all kinds of backing from the US, launched a genocide on Palestinians in Gaza, with plans for other wars soon rolled out in the West Bank, in Lebanon, bombing Syria, our group pushed and struggled against the war alongside many other peace groups whose ranks were all growing. However, when it came to some difficult personal decisions, such as whether to engage in tax resistance or civil disobedience, I did have members of our group who I sought counsel with. When I expressed despair, I had sympathetic ears from members who would hear me out and would then share with me the next strategy meeting, the next protest, or the next political education event that they would be attending. BFP, Brooklyn for Peace, put on a number of webinars in the past year, dozens of tablings, and participated in rallies all throughout the year to fight for peace and, moreover, to fight shared feelings of defeat. Trump is about to be in office again, and making such decisions, although they weren't easy, under Biden or supported, I do think will become much harder. So the incentive to avoid engaging in efforts for either radical change or reform due to fear of retaliation in particular will likely only rise. So in light of that, I have two very fun questions for us, which is why to give and why to give specifically to Brooklyn for Peace. And to that I say, because having groups with infrastructure and spaces to congregate alongside, as you mentioned, labor and religious and professional associations allows otherwise uninvolved people, such as I was, to get involved. Because we can continue to provide programming, newsletter correspondence, lobbying efforts, and in-person events to New Yorkers. Because of our experience with and reputation working among civil society groups around the city, because we can convey the history and lessons of successes and failures of the broader movements for peace, and in particular because that kind of history, the successes and failures of the broader peace movement, is needed when things look especially bleak. And because this group is deeply rooted in Brooklyn, I believe it understands the contours of what it means to organize people, to bring in people, to hear people's concerns in Brooklyn and New York. So if all of that was my little wind-up, this would be the pitch. The fundraising pitch would be, we do need funding and fundraising for paid staff. If we have the funds to compensate a few dedicated paid staff members, we can increase the power of our volunteer-led work many times over. I would want to thank Diana now, Diana Sowery, who helped set this up, wouldn't be able to do this without a paid staff member. With more money, we can do more outreach to the public and to politicians. With more money, we can keep producing educational materials and putting on forums. With more funding, we can keep developing new members of the peace movement, pushing for our demands to the point where our society has to take greater notice. In particular, if you can offer major financial support, it would help us build a smoother route towards peace and economic justice. Rusti, I'm looking at you now, wherever you might be, because I was told that we do have a donor who will match a single $2,500 donation. If that's true still, and I believe it is, it is? Yeah, it still holds? Okay. If you might be a match for that donor, we thank you. However, whatever you can give, needless to say, on top of the ticket prices for this event and other contributions you have made previously, such a contribution, any contribution, would be especially meaningful and appreciated. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the music from Christine.
Thank you, Greg. I know that's always hard to do, to talk about donations, all that good stuff, but as you know, it is very, very important, especially in the coming years. Now I'd like to bring to the stage Christine Lewis. Yes, Christine Lewis in a beautiful orange attire. Thank you.
Hi all, how is everybody feeling? So I'm here, my name is Christine Yvette Lewis, and I'm here with Lorna Robley, we're from Domestic Workers United. Also, I'm going to But here's what I want you to do. We're sitting for so long. I want you to sing. I'll give you the refrain, and I want you to sing. Because here's what happens. When we go around the towers, especially in this climate that we're in right now, the war climate, the political climate, when we go together in a community, we're going to break walls. Hello. When we go together in community, we're going to break walls. Not me without you, not you without me. We're going to do this together. So here's the refrain to this beautiful song. Hold on, hold on, keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Let me give it to you again. Pay attention. Slacken the belt, we just eat. It's easy to become lethargic. You know, especially when we have these functions, right? It's nice to eat and recline on the chair and sit back on our do-nothing stools. But hear what? Sing to the rafters. Sing like we're breaking those walls in Jericho, in Zion, in Israel, in Trinidad, in Grenada. Somebody talk about Grenada, Eric Gary. Grenada. Hello. So let me do the refrain again. And I want you to sing. It's not about me. It's about all of us. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Paul and Silas bound in jail. Ain't got no money for to go their bail. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. By the way, where's the music? I give you all something to knock. Play, please. Indulge me, indulge me. Paul and Silas began to shout. Dungeon shook and chains fell off. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Here's the chorus. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Freedom's name is mighty sweet, and soon we're gonna meet. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on once. I've got my hands on the gospel plow. Won't take nothing from my journey now. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Well, the only chain that a man can stand is the chains of hand in hand. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. I'm gonna board that big gray bus and carry my love from town to town. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. The only thing I did was wrong was stay in the wilderness too long. You know, some of us stay in the wilderness too long, right? Hello? Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. The only thing I did was right was the day we started the fight. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Now here Ain't been to heaven, but I've been told the streets up there are paved with gold. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Beautiful. That's all right. That's all right. Sorry. We break walls when we're not realists, you know? When we go hand in hand, right? So it's okay. It doesn't have to be polished. Well, I went down to the border and I took back what they stole from me. I took back my dignity, took back my humanity. Well, I went down to the border and I took back what they stole from me. I took back my dignity, took back my humanity. Well, they're under my feet. Where? Under my feet. Under my feet. Under my feet. Ain't gonna let no system walk all over me. Well, I went down to the rich man's house and I took back what he stole from me. I took back my dignity, took back my humanity. Well, I went down to the White House and I took back what they stole from me. I took back my dignity, I took back my humanity. Well, he's under my feet, under my feet, under my feet, under my feet. Ain't gonna let no system walk all over me. Well, I went down to the jailhouse and I took back what they stole from me. I took back my dignity, took back my humanity. Well, I went down to the jailhouse and I took back what they stole from me. I took back my dignity, took back my humanity. Well, they're under my feet, under my feet, under my feet, under my feet. Ain't gonna let no system walk all over me. One more. Come on, give me one more way. Where we going? One man. Shut up around. Where? Thank you. Where we going? One more way. We'll take one more humanity and dignity. From where? From where? Well, we're going down to the riverside. Took back what they stole from me. Took back my dignity. Took back my humanity. Well, we're going down to the riverside and I took back what they stole from me. I took back my dignity. Took back my humanity. Well, they're under my feet, 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 under my feet. Ain't gonna let no system walk all over me. Thank you.
Let's give her another round of applause. Come on, Brooklyn. Thank you so much. Charlotte, did you want to close out or say any last words? You sure? Well, how was the program? How'd we do? How we do? Yeah? So we got more food on the table. Thank you, Bassett's. I think they did a really great job. Thank you to the committee and the board for approving everything so we can have a great time. And as I mentioned earlier, I hope you have one takeaway, that you've met at least one person you didn't know, maybe they even lived on your block, and learned a little something more about Brooklyn for Peace, and will attend more future events, especially in 2025. We're all going to need it. So with that, I guess I'm going to close out and say again, it was just great having you all here, taking the time on this cold, little, chilly time in Brooklyn, but it's nice and warm in here. And thank you, everyone. I sincerely appreciate it.